Jorge, I hope I look funny enough because, well, this was one funny episode. Who thought those queens could be so entertaining? Hey, hi, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with the Fingerdoo review of Camp Wannakiki Season 4, Episode 5. And before I get started, I need to thank my Tipperdoo boyfriend, Vito, for sending me some love in the form of a Tipperdoo. Thanks, Vito doll, you're the best. Seriously. Now on to the good stuff. Jorge, drink me! Oh, thank you, Jorge. What is this? Iced tea? All right. It's actually really iced tea with some booze. This week on Camp Wannakiki, the Sugar Baker twins were playing a video game, although what the game was is anybody's guess. What are those? Rockets? Is that the PC term? Because I thought it looked like a couple of Either way, their game was interrupted by a series of crank calls from the one and only Jada Essence Hall. Look at Camp Wannakiki employing drag race drag queens when no one else will. I hope those queens don't get upset when they find out what the Sugar Baker twins are doing with their Venmos. That's what they're called, right? Venmos. Meanwhile, Camp Counselor Ruthie was on stage at the amphitheater to give the remaining campers their LOL badge camp activity, impersonating each other. Well, the campers seemed thrilled. So, dolled up in each other's togs, the queens got to it. Lily St. Queer was Clinica Deprecious, and I have to say, if I didn't know that that was Lily, I would have thought it was Clinica. And I don't mean that bitchy. Clinica did an equally accurate portrayal of Lily. Seriously, I couldn't tell them apart. Well, except maybe for the makeup. And this look on Lily's face for not thinking of that song Clinica came up with first. Speaking of songs, Coleslaw butchered the Canadian national anthem while nailing an almost perfect Hillary Yaz, sounds dirty, complete with her accident from last week. Deja D's Pola Frost was so good that I thought it was Pola in blackface. It triggered me there for a second or three. Seriously. Speaking of Pola, I thought her Coco Sho-Nell, sounds dirty too, was pretty good, although I'm not sure Coco did. Probably because she thought she was the only one capable of being the James Earl Jones of drag. I have to say, I thought Hillary Yaz got Coleslaw's voice down pat, but her hair and makeup were still very much Hillary. Coco's Deja D looked good, but was awfully low-key compared to how Deja seems on camera. She must have a dual life is all I'm saying. And then when the daily camp activity was done, Ruthie had a surprise. Road trip! The campers would be hopping on the Camp Wannakiki bus and heading to Hamburger Mary's in Milwaukee to perform their own stand-up comedy routine in front of a live audience. Gasp. Unfortunately, it looked like Ranger Danger wouldn't be able to make the trip with the campers, so Ruthie and the twins snapped a few pics to remember him by. Did you just say arch your back and wet your lips? And then a short bus ride later, and I mean the ride was short, not the bus, and a few quick words from the Sugar Baker twins, it was showtime! Camp Counselor Ruthie kicked things off by warming up the audience. It's obvious that Ruthie does a fabulous Joan Rivers impersonation, but I thought it was super fun to see this hilarious queen shine in her own element. And that dress was gorgeous. Where did she get it? I'm gonna call her. Now, before we get started, I do want to go on record as a stand-up comic myself by saying stand-up is hard. What's even harder is doing it in front of an audience of other performers, which is what it looked like to me. All I could see in the audience were the other campers and, well, that one straight boy in the back. And trust me, if you have to have a straight boy, they're best in the back. Up first was Lily St. Queer, who took the tragic story of her own divorce and turned it into a tale of laughter. All in all, I thought she did a good job, especially for someone who went first. Fingerdoo for Lily. Coco's tragic tale of getting herself date ready was a lot of fun, but she ended it with a street joke. A street joke is a joke you've heard 100 times before, whether online or in person. So for me, it took me out of her routine just a bit, but she's a born storyteller, so I still gave her a Fingerdoo. Klinico's portrayal of the devil was very clever, but she kind of lost me during that billboard bit. But ending on her trials and tribs of living with autism brought the room back up, so I gave her a Fingerdoo. Pola's portrayal of the Camp Wannakiki custodian and cook, Rita Frost, was almost as hilarious as it was watching her talk into a toilet scrubber. So I gave her a Fingerdoo. And yes, toilet scrubber was my drag queen name in high school. Triple D had me with her outfit. The wig, the jacket, the jewelry, those gloves. Don't get me wrong, none of it went together, but that didn't stop me from liking it. But her material about using dating apps was so funny. Fingerdoo for Deja D, seriously. And then it was Hillary Yaz's turn. She killed it. But then, as you know, all Canadians are hilarious. Just ask Ryan Reynolds. Hillary took that stage by storm, and there were hostages. Her throwing shade at the Americans was so funny and brave, because, well, she could have been shot. So Fingerdoo for Hillary. Stay down, Hillary! Coleslaw's tribute to the remake of Cats and the tale of her failed audition for said remake was fun. But I have to say, it was Coleslaw's delivery that made everything she said so hilarious for me. So I totally gave her a Fingerdoo. She's just naturally funny. So, after Ruthie and the Sugarbaker twins deliberated, the queens emerged from the green room with the news. Lily, Klinika, and Coleslaw were safe. So they frigged off. The campers who were in the top were Hillary Yaz and, amazingly, Deja D. She was just in the bottom last week. Here's to Triple D, who stunned Ruthie and the twins by telling them. This was her first time doing stand-up ever. Here's to you. Well done. But it was a comedy veteran, Hillary Yaz, who was this week's winner. Here's to Hillary. Of course, she went to Canada. As for the bottom two, both Pola and Coco were emotional at the prospect of going home. And as emotional as it was for Ruthie and the Sugarbaker twins, it was announced that both queens would be going home. Gasp! I can't believe that. But I guess since no one went home during the Pride episode, they had to pick up the slack somewhere. I'm just so sorry to see two queens go at the same time. I'm so serious, especially at this stage of the game. They're all great campers, and I've come to like them all equally. You can't say that about Drag Race, I'll tell you what. So, here's to Pola Frost, and here's to Coco Sho-Nell. Well done, queen, seriously. So, what about you? Were you gagged by this double elimination? Did both queens deserve to go home this week? If you could have saved one, who would it have been? There's only 5 queens left. Who do you think could be next? There's only one way to find that out, and that's by tuning into Camp Wannakiki next week to see how it all plays out. And then, when you're done, you come on back and you see me so you and I can compare notes. Now, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and if you'd like to help support this channel, there are links in the description box down below. Until next week, miss me! Mwah! Seriously, Jorge. Double elimination. What is this? Drag Race? Seriously. I don't know. I see why it was a double elimination. If they only have so many episodes that they're contracted for, then that's it. But, oh. This was an episode, too, where everyone did well. I mean, I'm going to just go out on a limb and say that it had a lot to do with the editing. Because some of the critiques that the Sugarbaker twins and Ruthie had, I didn't see in the performances. So they clearly edited them out for time, but then it made everyone look like they did a better job. So it's harder to say who really deserved to go. I thought for sure that Deja D would stay over Pola, no offense. Now there's 5 left. Who are they going to send home next? I think it's all going to boil down to who really fails in the talent show. Because they can't really fail in the camp activity. That's just for funsies. Oh.